Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Intuition of Business Growth, where we're talking about exponentially building your wealth while honoring your time, joy, and freedom. I'm Megan Camille, your host and intuitive business consultant. As a reminder, you'll want to stay tuned until the end of this show to receive your free gifts from both myself and today's guest. Today's guest is Anna Kowalska. Welcome, Anna.
Good morning, Megan. Good morning, because it is morning when we're recording it.
It's good morning here too. Don't know if that's the time that they're watching it, but it is for us. And for those of you who don't know, Anna guides spiritual women entrepreneurs in creating their success in alignment with divine purpose and prosperity. After creating traditional success in life and having it disappear for the third time, Anna decided to put all her focus on energy into discovering and living her soul purpose, co-creating her success with Source. Along the way, she immersed herself in numerous spiritual, metaphysical, mind, and body modalities, bringing it all together to activate and unite the creators of the new earth. This sounds fantastic. I'm sure everyone who's listening to this right now totally gets why you are on the show. Will you just start us out by telling us in your own words what got you on this path and why you choose it every day?
Yeah, such a great question, Megan, to start with. So, like my bio says, I created traditional success, whatever that looks like. Mine looked like literally on paper, multimillionaire, everything I ever could imagine and more, because I grew up in a communist Poland where you really didn't ask for things. You didn't have what you wanted. You didn't want anything. You just got what you got, and that's what you had, right? But here I come to America, and within a few years, I stumble upon a success, and I put quotes around it because I know it happened for a reason, but I didn't know then. Why me? Why is this happening? Like, why am I experiencing this? But there it was, tremendous success. And before I knew anything about spirit, divinity, this intuition thing, I knew something was missing. So physically, tangibly, my life looked a certain way, yet non-tangibly, there was a huge hole. And I didn't know what I was even looking for or asking. I just knew that I could have everything that anyone could ever ask for, yet still something was missing. What's that about, right? So I started asking, but I didn't even know what I was asking. All I knew, now I grew up Catholic, so I swore off religion, and nothing against religion, but I knew very early on that there was something off about the whole structure of religion to me, right? Like, I go through somebody else to get to get to a deity, right? So I started to address it as there is this great power, there is something bigger than me, and I would use these words. So I started asking questions. There's something bigger than me, right? There's something bigger than me that knows. I am bigger than this. There is more to me than the physical, tangible experience. And it led me on a journey, and it attracted people to me. And I know many of us are on this journey right now, right? All of a sudden, and today it's more of a mainstream than it was then, because this was like more than 20 years ago. Woo, yeah. Scary to think about. But I started to attract people that brought certain conversation into my life. And I started to look into yoga because that was acceptable. And then somebody would start talking about chakras and crystals, and all of a sudden I was on this path, and I started to recreate my success again. And I started to recreate it, and it started to look the same. I said, wait a second, there is still this part of me that creates in a physical reality, something that I am meant to have, I'm meant to be. I know I love luxury. I love tangible things. We are all meant to have tangible beauty and luxury to whatever degree we allow ourselves to receive it, and constantly expanded. And then there was this other part of me that lived in this other world. Now I was becoming a high priestess. I was engaged in rituals, beautiful rituals that would bring magic into my life. But there was this split between the two. I would wake up in the morning and I would go and do the thing that brings me money. And then there would be the other part of me that I would stay up in the middle of the night, experiencing floating in spaces and experiencing expansion and energy. And I finally asked the question, how do both live together? It was so amazing, Megan. Like, I didn't understand how part of me could so forget about this other part of me at a certain time. When I lived in Manhattan, so it was kind of easy to get lost in a physical, tangible experience, right? Because that's what Manhattan is about, a lot of it, unfortunately. it's the noise, I would literally forget that there is this other part of me that I loved so much. I'm like, how does this even happen? And a series of experiences started to lead me on a path of merging the two and bringing the mystical and the tangible and physical together. And I am still on this journey. So you ask, what has me do it every single day? Well, the only thing I can say right now is that I don't know that once you are on this path, for me, this is true. Can I ever go back to ever not being on this path? To ever forgetting, right? That there is intuition. If I forget, I get reminded in ways that don't work, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I love this story so much, especially about the piece of merging the both of the worlds, because it is what I consider the sweet spot, the magic, what creates ease and joy and pleasure in what we might consider our work or our career. So can you talk about what it looks like to live with both? Because I think a lot of people can really relate to, okay, I have over here like the work that I do in order to support my family. And then when I've got time, it's sort of my hobby over here to be spiritually inclined and intuitive. So how does it benefit you to actually have both of them as both of them as an aspect of the you right here, right now?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's the feeling of wholeness, right? And I look for different words because, I mean, these words are so overused, but they are true. There is a feeling of wholeness, right? So when I create something in my business, I don't just say, hey, this would be fun to do. Yes, maybe. And there are, so in my work, which I call Sacred Success, there are 3 pillars. The first pillar is you. Who are you as this being that's on purpose? Being for a reason, right? That's the first pillar, and all the layers of who you are and all the ways you came here to grow and expand and all your challenges and all your gifts and all your magic. Second part is the people you came here to serve. We are, so what I like to say is your purpose is yours, but it's not for you. The thing you do, the magic you are here to bring, it's not for you. It's not for me. Mine isn't for me. It's here to be of service to other people on this planet. And it's true for everybody. The only reason why we exist with a gift and a purpose is because somebody else was born with a need for it at some point. And when we allow this magic and remember that this is exactly what happens, we can start using our intuition, right? And start engaging energy and even attraction, right? The magic of attraction is absolutely real. And say, there are people right now who need this. And I know it because I can feel it, because I've prepared my physical vessel enough to birth this thing into the world right now, to know that there are people who need it right now. So I can now start doing whatever works, whether it's, you know, doing a ritual, like a high priestess ritual where we have an altar and we create a space for those people to, their energy to be drawn into. And then I create a physical, tangible marketing piece, whether it's an email, an interview, right? Like I'm doing with you. There is this physical, tangible thing that now I get to bring into the world through which people will be attracted to. So that's the second pillar, right? Like there are people, and whether it's a service or a shoe, it doesn't matter, right? Whether it's a thing you create or a thing you provide, there's somebody who needs it right now. Because based on universal laws, the only reason why you are drawn to birth it and create it is because somebody else needs it. And I truly believe it happens all the time, right? So that's the second part. And the third part is the physical reward. It's the prosperity, right? So whether it's monetary, and that's what I love to talk about in terms of prosperity, right? But it's a prosperity in all aspects of it, right? Being in a prosperous state of being, that there are people who need it, that I am a prosperous being. That means that I have all this energy flowing through me. That's prosperity, right? And constantly merging. When I don't just sit down and write an email. I don't just, and I know it's true for you too, right? I don't just sit down and put a post on Facebook. Yes, it could be in the moment that I'm drawn to do it, but before I actually sit down and write it, I summon the energy and I summon the people who are here to read it, who are here to listen to it, right? Who are here to experience it. And I don't ask, hey, bring me a paid client through it. What I ask for, let it serve. There are people who need to be served by it, right? And I know that if I come from this place, people who will pay me eventually for whatever it is that I bring in will come, because that's the third pillar. I need to be exchange, there needs to be exchange. So I need to be paid for what I do, because in the world we live in right now, it's still about physical exchange of money. Money is a symbol of the exchange, right? So those three pillars constantly bring me into merging the non-physical and the physical into one. And because I experienced the tangible success without the magic, the energy, the intuition, I know that there were things I was doing then that I didn't understand, but created that.
Yeah.
And because I didn't understand them, or not even understanding in like I need to know how it happens, but honor them, right? Be in reverence to what's actually going on. When I received it, I wasn't in reverence of having it. I was actually in the energy of, what do I do with this? Why me? Why not other people? Right? So I wasn't in this experience of gratitude. Yeah, it's me because I'm here to experience it, and I'm somebody who can bring it out into the world and expand it. But I didn't know it then. Now, right, I can be in a reverence of it. And it's such a beautiful word, reverence, right? I'm in reverence of every opportunity, of every being who is drawn to me. I'm in reverence of everybody who's willing to exchange their money for what it is that I bring in. And I'm in reverence of the energy that creates it all and allows me to be the vessel for it.
So much here. I have two questions. The first one, I mean, I have even more, but the ones I'm like, okay, I need answers to this. One, what I'm hearing you say, which is so powerful, there's lots of coaching that would say otherwise when we're talking about like strategy. But what I'm hearing you say is that your purpose, your passion, your calling already meets a need. Right now, mainstream marketing, coaching and marketing would have you go figure out what an issue is, what the problem, what is the problem. Now go fill that void, right? And really something that I have always naturally done and now do with my clients is actually the gift that you bring already has a gap. So you don't have to go find a gap, because you wouldn't have this gift if there was no need for it. So what I'm hearing you say is your purpose really already has a place in the market, right? Your purpose, which is also your solution, has a place in the market. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm.
And this is the difference in from what I've seen in targeting someone's pain point versus pleasure point of saying, here's what can be, here's what I can provide, versus look at what you're lacking and I'm your answer. And I'm hearing so much flow in what you're talking about by being in alignment with their purpose. So can you talk about, I want to give an idea on the difference from your perspective of knowing that your purpose, your calling has a place. Because a lot of people will say, but I know what I want to do, but what if nobody wants it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there is definitely a way to massage whatever it is our purpose is. I don't believe our purpose is this one thing, right? I believe it constantly grows, and I can feel it in you too, that you know that. It constantly grows and expands, right? To meet the need, period, because the need is already there. But there is a certain way that you bring it into the world that nobody else can but you. That's what makes it so unique, right? So being in a certain, first of all, believing it, that it's true. There is no way that I was born with this gift if nobody needs it. For example, I'll take creatives, right? Where people say, oh, there are so many artists making music already. There is a way you'll make music that nobody else will, that if you allow yourself to be in the state of that uniqueness of who you are and allow yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. This is where I really get to bust this. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy and it's just going to happen. Right? Because part of the journey is of seeing, where did you put blocks in your way? Where did you start believing things about yourself? Where did you take on other people's beliefs or societal beliefs or whatever it is? Part of our journey as humanity is challenges that grow us and expand us. If there is no challenge and there is nothing for me to push against, I don't know how powerful I am. Right? So when I meet a challenge and I actually, and it doesn't have to be struggle, it actually can be, how do I move through it? Who do I get to be right this moment to move through it? And then on the other side of it, all of a sudden I learned something that I add to my work, or I became bigger and stronger. So now I can serve more people, right? But at the very beginning, one has to believe, right? Every single one of us really gets to believe that what I call divine appointments, the people that are here to be served by you at this time with the thing you are serving right now are already out there. So are you willing to meet the challenge? Are you willing to speak up? Are you willing to show up? Are you willing to say the thing that you are afraid to say? Are you willing to energetically be aligned with the truth that there are people waiting for it right now? Right? Because it's easy to say nobody wants it, because then you can say, I love this. I was in this place for 7 years. I would change the niches because I didn't believe nobody wanted what I was giving, right? So I would just, every month I had a new niche. I never created the energetic container for people to actually step into it, because I would constantly be a moving target, right?
Yeah.
It kept me safe from growth.
Yeah, it like a confirmation, right? A confirmation that, oh, yep, nobody wanted that one, so now I get to go do this one.
Yep.
See.
Yep.
See.
And I know that so many of us do it, right? Like, and it's a way for us to stay safe.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way that each person stays safe is unique, right? It may be different than what you did. Some people may never get started, or they may stay in a place that they think that this is what people want and not go into the direction of their calling. The other thing that you're talking about that I definitely want to dive into is the prosperity piece, the 3 pillars that you're talking about, and that prosperity really coming through in a very tangible and material way is, quite frankly, a passion of mine. I love that. I love the beauty of luxury and the material world. And I truly believe that it was here for us to enjoy and experience. And boy, was it a challenge to be a woman who loved talking about money and making money. And can you just talk a little bit about that? Because I still see some of that either within myself of, gosh, what does this make me if I love making money, right? And I love talking about making money. Does that make me shallow? I remember dating men, and I, have always had a business for most of my adult life and was doing well, and typically financially, and it didn't matter much to me, but would make more than they made. And they would kind of just, nonchalantly be like, oh, money's not the most important thing to me, kind of like that backhanded. It's not like as if it was the most important thing to me. So I love hearing another perspective from a woman who is empowered and financially sovereign and passionate. Can you talk about what that is like and why there is the resistance to women with money?
So I'll tell you the way that it's coming in right now, because I can talk about this in so many different ways. It's just like you, I love it. And I think it's so important to talk about. But the way that it's coming in to talk about right this moment for this audience is something that I've been saying for years now, is money is our last frontier. It will exist for as long as we keep resisting it. And it's not because it's bad and we need to fight it, right? It teaches us. It's the most tangible teacher of where we still don't believe that the energy flowing through us, our uniqueness, our reason for being, is actually worth something. It's actually valuable. And there is a reason beyond just, struggling, or beyond. I literally just had a conversation with my client right before we got on, and it was through a device, through a messaging. And it's this idea of, I just want to work with people. How many times have you heard it from spiritual healers and coaches? I just want to work with people. And I know there was a time in my life when I was stepping onto this journey, when I was afraid to charge for my spiritual gifts. And I just wanted to work with people. My COVID, right? And there is this conversation that we get to own, that the energy that flows through us is so valuable that we cannot not have a conversation about getting the exchange of money for it. When we don't exchange money for it, we shrink the value of what it is that comes through us. And right now on planet Earth, the symbol of value is money. When it's leaves, we'll have the same conversation about leaves. I'm looking at a tree right now.
Yes, yeah.
Right? So it's the last frontier, and it's especially for women because we have been in this journey for centuries as women, where our gifts were demonized, and our ability to have money was demonized as well, right? So the whole idea of talking about, and it's true for men too, because it's feminine, and we all carry feminine no matter what gender. So it's this power that we possess when we allow the energy to flow through us and we direct it in a certain way, and allowing ourselves to have everything we need and require to be our best selves. So I'm recovering from COVID. I was able to get support, medicine, supplements that if I didn't have money, I couldn't get. Now, I don't know how long it's gonna, COVID does what it does. We just had this conversation, right? It just does what it does. I don't know how much longer it would take me to be able to have this conversation with you right now if I didn't have the best supplements, the best food, and time to rest. But I did have it because I have money to be able to do that. And as healers, as light workers, we must have what we need to be our best selves. If it means beautiful environment to look at, right? Like beautiful things that I look around me. So it raises my frequency. The healthiest food, so my body is taken care of, my physical vessel. The best coaches, mentors, and healers, so my being can be high, constantly in high frequency, right? We get to have it, and money buys that. Now, there is a whole other layer of that. As spiritual leaders, which we all are, because we are awakened and we are this leading edge of transformation for humanity, we can take the money that's flowing in the universe already on this physical planet Earth, not universe, physical planet Earth, because you can't use money on other planets, not that we know of yet. Sure, they have their own matter of exchange.
Yeah.
Right. We can now, as spiritual leaders, we have an obligation. Not even can we have an obligation to channel as much as we possibly can, to take this and keep what we need to be our best selves, and then take the leftover, which is still a lot, hopefully, for every single one of us, and channel it into projects and systems for the new earth, especially as business owners. We have an obligation to take it from the systems that no longer support life as it's meant to be for the future of the planet and humanity, and redirect it into the new systems, new structures, new ways of being for humanity that people who are asleep cannot do.
Yes.
Right? And expand it.
So good. And when you said money is the last frontier, I mean, I just got chills. I can so relate. Anytime that money has always been that next opportunity of growth and integration, whether it was the moment I lost I shouldn't say lost, I chose to no longer go through with my second business. And it, momentarily destroyed me financially. And I was living at my parents' house with my two little kids, sleeping on the floor. Like, wow, this is the biggest growth opportunity. Yep. Because what I'm seeing is the difference of my life with money and my life without money. And who I am in those moments was like mind-blowing. And I don't think that there's any relationship or anything that could have provided that level of self-reflection. And I think just like sort of magic to get me going of, oh wait, money is an asset that creates more experience, whether it is the lack of money creating the experience or the overflow of money that is creating the experience. And I consciously chose, okay, the experience I want to have is with money, because then I get to have a ripple effect outward, as opposed without money, which is a lot of internal work still, but it's through struggle, right? It's through struggle as opposed to expansion, where now I get to support my entire team and their families and what that looks like. And it is an expanded version of me versus a contracted version. And that's what I hear you saying in there is like, you get to expand when you have money. We expand expand and raise the whole entire experience on planet Earth.
100%.
So good. And I want to ask you one more question before we talk about your gift here, which is in your bio, you had spoken of the new earth, and a few of our guests during this season of Intuition of Business Growth have mentioned the new earth. And I think it is worth mentioning again. Can you just reiterate in your own words, in your own experience, what is the new earth and who has claim and stake in it?
Oh, wow. How much time do we have? So
as much as we can.
Great. So New Earth is a whole new experience for humanity. So some of us have heard of different civilizations living on planet Earth before Atlantis and all of that, right? Now, some believe that there is this whole new human coming onto planet Earth, which is a lot human luminous, a lot more light. So human that's less dense, a lot more light. What will it look like? For me, and the way that I have seen it for years, and I didn't have a language for it. And now, of course, the more people talk about it, the more I can say, oh, that's exactly what I saw. It's a whole new experience for human beings. So instead of being in a lack, in LACK, instead of being in a need, instead of being in this physical response to a certain experience, we are creating a human experience based on spirit, based on divinity, based on creativity. I've been saying for a while too that creatives are the ones that are ushering in the new earth. So the new earth is a new experience on planet Earth. Now it's available to everybody. Not everybody will benefit from it because there is a split for humans that is happening. Some are choosing to stay asleep, and whatever happens to them, I don't know. I mean, the most drastic version I see is that they exit their physical body because their soul no longer doesn't want to go through this transformation, which is, it takes something. It's not easy, right? I mean, look at all the things that are tangibly happening, the war, COVID, all of that is part of old going away in a very chaotic way so we can create something new. And the new earth is new systems. That means that education will look completely different. That means that the gifts that we're bringing in will be valued differently. So we no longer value the loudest mouth or the strongest voice or the most polluting idea, or that there'll be no longer following, right? Like everybody will be a leader of their own journey coming together to co-create. So all of this is the new earth, right? And I just heard something that really actually felt true. We may not even see it this lifetime fully come to its fruition. We are just planting the seeds for what is happening. But many of us who are born right now, if we're willing to, we have raised our soul, SOUL hand, and said, I will incarnate on planet Earth at this time when humanity is going through this transformation. I will go through the upheaval, through the chaos. I will go through the dark night of the soul, and I will create something that I call birthing of your soul's work. That's my gift, by the way, too, how to birth your highest soul level body of work in alignment with the purpose that I was born for. So I no longer earn money and a living. I create something that I get in exchange for the currency, which right now and for a while will still be money, right? So it's this new ways of being a human being on planet Earth. And it is in a certain way utopia where, intuition will be actually the way that we'll communicate. Some say internet will go away. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Don't get scared. But at some point we won't need it. I mean, internet is really just a tangible way for us to communicate when we really tune into our intuition, which happens for a lot of us telepathically, right? We don't need internet if we truly tap into our telepathy, because we can communicate with others, right? In pictures, in different dimensions, right? And then bringing them down into our experience. So that's the future of the human. We are just at the beginning of it. Now it's been slowly happening for a couple decades now. So some say maybe 5-6 decades. I don't know. I know this is the generation right now that you and I are, that are tangibly experiencing the impact of it physically, because the systems are changing so quickly. I know the children being birthed right now, like yours, have a chance of being birthed into something that is the future.
Yeah. Oh, again, chills, Anna. I remember so many years ago, before there was like so much connection on the internet, I was channeling galactics, and I saw the earth pulling in two in like the two separate earths. And maybe 3 years ago or so, I saw some art, and I'm like, oh my God, that's what I saw like 15 years ago. Had no idea what it meant. And so much of what you're saying sounds like we're actually living parallelly, right? Like there is the option already to be tapping in to the new earth while also not. And that's why we see like these extremes of like of the war and the COVID, and then other people who are seemingly unaffected by it, right? Almost like they are still progressing despite the horrors that are happening almost right on top of each other. And it is open for us to go either direction, right? Like, and what you're talking about the internet, so many people will be like, oh, I hate social media. Oh God, I don't mess with the internet. And I'm like, look how quickly, yeah, I get on TikTok sometimes and I see people talking about timeline, ascension, all timeline shifting, right? Galactics. And I'm like, this information is being delivered like this. I mean, this is a step in the direction of telepathy. Whereas before, if you were talking about galactic beings or ancient civilizations or using your intuition with money or DeFi,
you
right?
get locked up.
You're crazy and you're like just in this little hole. But instead it's just rippling, it's just spreading so fast. So what I'm hearing is that there is also the new earth right here, right now.
Yeah.
So good. Love this conversation. And we're at time. So will you give our audience insight on what your free gift is? I know you mentioned it, but mention it again.
Yeah, sure. So it's how to birth your highest soul level body of work in alignment with your purpose and prosperity, even if you don't know your purpose yet. And it's the 5 steps that I took at the very beginning when I didn't know what I was doing. And I started kind of gathering information and gathering people around me. And there were 5 steps that I have taken, I still take over and over myself. I lead my clients through to birth my highest soul level body of work, because that's the way to tap into this new frequency. To me, there is no better way than to do it through your business, birthing your highest soul level body of work through your intuitive business, whether it's a thing you are birthing, a service you are birthing, it doesn't matter. It's based on your soul level contribution to humanity right now. And it's the most powerful way to work through all the things that are in a way for us to be in a higher frequency in the new dimensions and the new earth. So
I love it. It sounds like multiple birds with one stone. Like you've got personal spiritual development, your purpose and your mission, and you're making money, right? Like that. Yeah. Why the heck not? That sounds like an amazing gift. That gift is below in the link right below this video. Go download Anna's complimentary gift to you. And as always, we will see you next time on the Intuition of Business Growth. Thank you so much for being here, Anna.
thank you, Megan.
Bye for now.